Okay, so this identification is on the New Deal, which is what Franklin Roosevelt, or FDR, his slogan for how to address the problems of the Great Depression, which is the chapter that we're covering this week too. So the New Deal was really the name for all of the many different programs that Roosevelt had pushed through Congress and had received cooperation from the Congress creating. And it was a series of many, many programs called the New Deal, some of which we still have today, but many of which only were temporary during that period of time. One of the programs is called the TVA, which really meant Tennessee Valley Authority. And the purpose for the program, which was going on, remember, during all of this terrible unemployment uh, and all of the homelessness that was going on. So the TVA was an attempt to give employment to people building dams, electrical dams in the South, mostly in Tennessee and in neighboring states. And you could see the sign that was posted in many places, electricity for all. So the purpose of the dams was to create water-powered generators where the water goes over the wall, like you've seen in Niagara Falls, a typical dam, a huge dam. But these dams were built in which water would go over the turbines of the wall, at the top of the wall, and then through a series of scientific uh, uh, equipment, the dams would create electricity as well as helping in the environment in some cases. But so it would create employment, build this massive project in the south of dam building, but would also bring electricity to houses and farms who had never experienced electricity. So it was typical of the New Deal, where it would help employ people, but would also modernize the country. Here you see this is a photo of a dam being built, and it did create a lot of employment in the South, um, which helped give people jobs to make money to survive, and then also create a permanent, everlasting system in which electricity would be delivered from these turbines. Uh, See a sign here that the Tennessee Valley Authority transmission line. Um, these are electrical lines being bringing electricity throughout the South. So it was one of the New Deal programs. You see what was the TVA. The TVA was the Tennessee Valley Authority. Established 1933, the TVA built hydroelectric dams to create jobs and bring cheap electricity to parts of the South that had previously been without power, particularly the southern Appalachians, which is a mountainous area in the South, which had a lot of poverty and still deals with poverty. And this mentions also the Social Security Act, which I'll get into a little later. Um, so who did the TVA benefit? Well, it created dams, so it created jobs and then lowered the price of electricity and created um, the ability to have electricity for many people in the South. And it also, many experts in this say it helped the environment in the areas around this water. Another program which doesn't exist anymore is the Federal Art Project. Let's go to the slide. So the Federal Art Project, uh, Roosevelt created a project in which many artists who lost their jobs because people couldn't go to plays or buy art, or spend money on things like that. So many people in the theater world and in the artist world and in music had lost their jobs. And so he created a project that financially supported struggling artists and actors and actresses in something called the Federal Art Project, which was temporary but somewhat successful. Another New Deal project was the Civilian Conservation Corps, um, in which many young men were hired to work in national parks and national forests and some state parks to help build roads and pave roads and plant trees. And sometimes they would travel a ways and live in camps, but they would receive food and they would be paid, and it was they were very happy. Many people uh, to get these jobs, and these men would work and receive compensation, food, and it was a temporary job, but it certainly gave a lot of people hope and money. Uh, you see, here's a picture of some of the workers in what was called the CCC, or the Civilian Conservation Corps. You see there, the Civilian Conservation Corps is in Leeds, Utah, but it was in states all across the country. It was a federal project, but it was part of the New Deal. Um, Chefs and cooks were needed to help um, with the massive undertaking of moving workers around on various projects. And certainly food safety and food preparation was a gigantic issue also. So the CCC was a temporary program, but it was very popular and gave many men work. You see, in Illinois, like I said, it was in almost all the states. They help with soil erosion, with projects on farmland, just construction of lodges and trails. Um, in some of the places in Illinois, like Starved Rock, tree planting, and millions and millions of trees were planted at this time. Um, it says some of the Camp Eureka volunteers um, gained 10 to 15 pounds during the first 2 months of camp life because many were already malnourished because of being unemployed for so long. Um, but there was pay that went with this also, which was good for people also. So those are just a few of the many New Deal projects. Many are mentioned in the book, in the textbook. Many of the other New Deal projects